It's not just, I said the sinner's prayer, thank God I have a ticket, so now if I hit a tree on the way home, I'm good. Like, I made it into heaven, and something about that is just so silly to people. And I think I know that really started in the 60s, but I think over the last 50, 60 years, a lot of people have started to pick up on that. Like, you're telling me I can just say essentially the spell. And most, I don't know, I feel like oftentimes, and maybe I'm being a little too critical, but many times it's just the proposal is, hey, belief of something. I just want you to believe that Christ was real. He was God. He did die for your sins. Do you believe in this historical fact? If you do, you can say this prayer and now you're good. Whereas the opposite side is belief in something. That means every single thing they said, you believe. You trust every single thing they said, every claim they made, every responsibility they charged you with, everything that this person represented and stood for, you subscribe to and are committed to following. That's very different than just the belief of a fact. The Christian journey doesn't just happen at the moment of what we would say salvation. Now there's this entire sanctification part, and you're producing more and more good works. You're storing up treasures in heaven. You're learning more about who God is. You're growing in your knowledge. You're growing in your stature. You're growing in your understanding. And maybe you do have this massive crescendo moment where Moses splits the seas and Abraham gets the tablets and, Paul performs signs and miracles, which I'm not saying will happen for most people, but maybe you have your crescendo moment where you feel like, man, this was the most memorable moment where Christ met me in my life. That's certainly possible, but here's the thing. Unless you die right after that, you've got another rock to carry. There's something always presented to you to pick up your cross and follow Christ. And most people, I don't know if they fully understand what it means to pick up your cross. It's this idea of picking up undue suffering that you don't deserve, by the way, and bearing it anyway in love, because somebody did that for you. So now that's been poured into your cup, and now you can pour that out into the world. And now we're the salt and light of the world. And now know us by the way we love each other and even love our enemies. It's I just don't know if that's all entirely packaged in most of the quick sinner's prayer presentations, not trying to dog on that prayer too much. But I said all that because there's a very responsible calling to the Christian life that if you look at it pessimistically, this thing that you'll never attain to, then I don't even know if you ever get up one rung of the ladder, if that even makes sense.
Yeah, and the most unfortunate part of that is that you're just believing a lie that there is an end point, and that if you have not reached it, you have failed. It's of course, you're going to constantly be struggling to grow into something new over and over and over. That's what it's like to just live inside of time, where we're constantly changing. And so because we're constantly changing, we're always going to be, I think that's how God designed it, where it's, we were designed to consistently be changing. And it's a beautiful and terrible thing to consistently be struggling to change. Whether you want to change toward God or whether you want to change to some degree towards what you
essentially
want
to degenerate away from God.
Yeah.
Essentially. I mean, ultimately,
Yeah.
we would say that. And there's all the fictional motifs of this with the phoenix that rises from the ashes and it comes back stronger. And even stuff like Lord of the Rings, Gandalf dies and he comes back Gandalf the White and he's stronger and better. But there's something that we as humans, we understand it more deeply than we'll ever realize, and that's why it's written in these fiction stories, this idea that something amazing, something better comes from the death and rebirth process. And the Christian essentially lives out a version of that where they die to their desires, they die to their flesh on a daily basis, they starve that, and they feed the spirit, they nourish their spirit, so that they're kind of slowly, constantly changing. And hence the whole sanctification process again. So it's actually a gift that we have a rock to carry, as heavy as it may seem at times.